Sup YouTube, it's ZapdosTCG here, and in this week's battle video we're still testing out some more Noble Victory decks. I'm playing Vanilluxe Vileplume this time, and yeah, it's a really good deck. It revolves around Vanilluxe as a first attack to paralyze your opponent, and with the help of Victini's ability you can just manipulate the coin flips on that attack, and yeah, Vileplume just prevents your opponent from playing any item cards, so that's good. And I also added a bear tech in this line, in this deck, just because he also knows an attack to stop your opponent from attacking, and I'm up against a 6 corners deck, which is a deck that I recently emerged out of Noble Victories, that revolves around high HP basics like Cobalion, Zekrom, Reshiram, Kyurem, Terrakion, and Virizion. And I believe that's it for those types, so 6 types to counter the weakness of every deck. And it's really powerful, high HP, which means you have a really hard time knocking them out. And the usual starter is Virizion in this deck to draw cards and just be able to attack small Pokemon for 40 damage. But he starts with a Cobalion this time, and he attaches energy and yeah, rainbow energy and Eviolite. So a lot of stuff right at the bat, and looks like he also captured my Oddish. I had to start a battle, so that was good. So now I already have a bear tech in play, which is good. And now I'm using N, just shuffling our hands back into your deck, drawing the same cards as your remaining prize cards, which means a big judge here. Both players got 6 cards, so no Pokemon has been knocked out yet. And I also has a Vanilluxe already in play, besides bear tech, so I already have 2 evolutions in play. That's good. Now I only need to get out my Vileplume to lock out my opponent, so we can't use any Eviolites or catchers or Junkarons or switches or everything. You can't use anything while you're in a trainer lock. Only supporters are allowed, and stadium cards as well. And there we have Reshiram and Zekrom side by side, and also Cobalion is his active Pokemon, so a lot of full arts in this deck. I believe you can get them all besides Kyurem, which is kind of strange. I should have considered that Kyurem was also a full art. They should have made one, but unfortunately there isn't a full art version of Kyurem yet, but they'll make Kyurem EX, which is way better anyway, so that'll be epic as well. Can't really wait. It's really epic to get the EX cards. It'll change the format completely. And yeah, you just saw a couple of turns, another rainbow on that Cobalion. So he already has 3 damage counters on the Cobalion, because my Cubchoo, I believe he attacked for 10 damage, so already 3 damage counters on the Cobalion, which is good. And I'm using Collector, getting out my army of Pokemon. We see Victini, Oddish, and Cleffa, so I'm in need of a hand refresh, I believe, and another Oddish, because if this Oddish gets knocked out, it'll be really hard to getting out Vileplume, because I want to get him out as soon as possible, because when the trainer lock is on, it's really good. You can just set up your Pokemon on the bench without having to worry about catcher or anything like that. So now he places Kyurem on the bench, so he's getting out all the Pokemon that only need a double colorless to attack. If I attack them, and they can use Outrage, but yeah, my deck is a really good counter against this deck. Actually, I thought that 6 corners deck can beat every deck that has a setup in them, like Magnezone Electric or Chandler or stuff like that. Just all decks that need a slow setup. No, not Chandler. If you're up against Chandler, you'll probably win, because if they don't have Vileplume. But if you're up against Chandler, Vileplume is a completely different story. Every deck that revolves around a Vileplume, it's really hard for this deck, because yeah, you expect your opponent to just put his basic or put his Pokemon on the play and just knock him out with the right types. Like you can knock out Magnezones with Terrakion, knock out Durans, I believe, with Reshiram, knocking out Megas with Zekrom, Reshirams with or Typhlosions with Kyurem. So it's a deck that revolves around the weakness of every game or every Pokemon in this current meta game. And I'm using some stuff. Yeah, I also got a Vileplume out, as you can see. So I'm just giving commentary. You can also see what's going on. You're retreating Cleffa, and now I have my active bear tech with a double colorless and a water. That's all he needs. Now we can use Cheer Curl. Now my opponent is stuck. He can't use anything. He's completely frozen. That's what I call it. You can't be frozen in a TCG game, but with the Cheer Curl ability, I call it you're frozen solid. And yeah, if you play the games, you know how annoying this is. You can't do anything. Just like in this case, the only thing you can do right now is retreat by discarding the 2 rainbows that attach to Cobalion, but I don't think he'll do that. He's just gonna have to wait until he gets knocked out and build up his other Pokemon on the bench. That's a really good lock. Vileplume can't use switches, no super scoop ups. There is no way to prevent it. You can only retreat by manually discarding the energy. So really good deck. I never tested it out before, but I think it's really good. If I see it like this, you see a Victinium play that manipulates coin flips. Then you see Vileplume, another Vanillite, yeah. Then Vanilluxe and Cleffa as well. So I now have a Beartic on my active spot. It can deal 80 damage this time. And now I'm using Twins, which is one of the main cards in the Vileplume deck. Just slow setup, but then using Twins, getting out 2 cards out of your deck, any 2 cards. So that's really a really powerful card. I've seen a lot of tournament plays with Twins. And usually when you use Twins, you can get back into the game, just like with N. If you're standing behind in prize cards, just use N, and your opponent usually has a bad hand after an N card. And there we go, with the Twins I can get out Vanilluxe, which is the ice cream Pokemon. And what else did I get out of Twins? I don't know, can't really tell because I can't see my hand this time. Usually when the camera is filming this or recording this, you can see a glimpse of our hands, but this time you can't really see anything. Camera is too far away or something, or too close. Too bad, but yeah, I'll just explain what's going on. My opponent attaches a rainbow to his Reshiram, so he plans on using blue flare or something, I don't know. I think he should have attached it to Zekrom or something, or even to Kyurem. I don't know, he's in a bad situation. I got Vileplume out. He'll be stuck if he attacks one time, then that active Pokemon will be stuck due to Beartic's attack, and he can't really do anything to stop it because Zekrom and Reshiram and as well as Kyurem also revolves around damage on yourself, but you need to wait 1 turn, and that 1 turn is crucial. You can just lock them and then they can't do anything. So usually this deck is really good. 6 corners, there's a lot of talking about it. Yeah, everybody thinks it's really good against metagame decks like Magnezone Electric or Rash Explosion or something. You can just cover the weakness or knock out Pokemon with going after the weakness, but this time around they're completely stuck. They can't do anything. They need just way too many energies, and their retreat cost is just insane, so they need to discard a lot of energies if they want to retreat. And yeah, my Beartic is just sweeping the field. I already got 2 prize cards, and yeah, now he's going for the blue flare, I believe, knocking not knocking out my Beartic. He just deals 120 damage, so not enough to knock me out. It was a good effort though, but he'll be knocked out pretty soon because Reshiram has a weakness to water, which is good for me because I can knock it out pretty soon. And unfortunately for him, his starter Pokemon was Cobalion. Too bad, because the only Pokemon in his deck that can stop my ice Pokemon is Cobalion. Can knock out Beartic in 1 blow if he can set him up to use his second attack, Iron Breaker. Can also knock out Vanilluxe in 1 turn. So here you can definitely see the power of Vanilluxe Vileplume deck. And yeah, you just see the weakness of the 6 corners deck. Can't really do anything. I think I'm gonna do another battle video with this deck because it really has to prove itself on video, because here you can see it's just insane. He has all those powerful Pokemon, even have Absol Prime to counter Chandler decks to knock him out in 1 blow. So he has every single type of the game in his deck to counter every weakness, but can't just knock out my Vanilluxe or Beartic with those cards because they need quite a while to set up. That's why this deck also runs Shaman, the 6 corners deck. Wants to replace or move around energy cards to the right Pokemon, then using Switch and Bang. But without the item cards, you're pretty much screwed. The only bad matchup for 6 corners is a Trainer Lock deck because it runs lots of switches, Super Scoop Up and stuff like that, Catcher as well, going after the weakness. So as I said, against Trainer Lock is a really bad matchup actually. Just the Vileplume decks really beat up this deck so badly that it's not even worth watching. You can see that the deck, it has so many epic cards, a lot of full arts, primes and all, and yeah, it just loses so easily against the Beartic and Vanilluxe. So not always the most expensive cards are the best ones. You can just go and get yourself a Durin deck, which can easily win against one of the most played decks ever, Magnezone Electric, when it has a good setup. And yeah, some cheaper decks are actually better against some certain matchups. Have to be careful which deck you're playing in cities though, because the competition will be really hard. There are lots of deck choices in our format. You can go for a Trainer Lock deck with Vileplume, or using a Ross Lock deck, or using Vanilluxe deck, or using Chandler with Vileplume. So lots of Vileplume decks. Then we have high HP basics like 6 corners. We also have Magnezone Electric, Retriflosion is still played, lots of decks choices, even Cake, the deck that I'll be yeah, I'm doing a battle video with Cake next week probably if I get out, if I get the Electrode Prime from a trade. I already got one, so now I have 2 Electrodes Primes, I believe. Now I only need one and I can make that deck, so I can make the matchup here. Maybe I'll check out Cake versus Vanilluxe, could be interesting. You can just stop your opponent in his tracks by using Iron Breaker from Cobalion, and they'll do the same to you, so it'll be a kind of attack lock deck against attack lock. Pretty interesting. But here you can see that 6 corners is losing so badly just now. And here you can also see Vanilluxe's attack. Roll 2 dice, and if one hits, you can just paralyze your opponent automatically and deal 40 damage. But the Virizion has a resistance to water, that's why I'm only dealing 20 damage for 1 hit. But if I get 2 hits, usually I deal 80 damage. That would be 60 damage on the Virizion. And as I said, 1 hit means being paralyzed automatically. And with the help of Victini, yeah, I had 2 tails here, so there'll be nothing here, no damage, no paralyze, but with the help of Victini you can just paralyze your opponent and throw those dice again. Now it's my opponent's move, you can't use any item cards, so the only thing you can do is using Juniper or Professor Oak's new theory, getting a fresh new hand, but that won't work here. Even if he has a fresh new hand, he can also only place basics on his bench, touching an energy, and just pass the turn. You can only use that. Here his hand is completely full of item cards, as you can see. And I'm getting a bit frustrated because he can't do anything. Usually when you play 6 corners, you expect to use switch a lot, super scoop up, catching for the weakness, knocking them out, getting the prices really quick. And yeah, here is just the other way around. You can't use anything, just attacking for low damage, because Outrage can't do anything in this matchup. Even if he wants to use Outrage and just wait a turn, he's gonna get stuck with Cheer Cold or the attack from Vanilluxe. So I hope you guys realize that some decks that don't see that much play are actually pretty good, like this Vanilluxe line. I never came across a Vanilluxe player before, that's why I'm testing it out myself. I never played with it before, so as you can see it's pretty good. And the Beartic line is also really helpful at the start of the game. So pretty much some info there. My opponent just really stuck here, can't do anything, as I already mentioned a couple of 100 times. That's the nice thing of playing with a Vileplume. You're pretty much safe for any catcher, so we can build up everything on your bench, even you don't have to worry about the catcher. Usually you have to think about, if that Pokemon gets captured, who will I touch the next energy to? So that's kind of thinking forward, but here you can just, I want to set up that Pokemon, just gonna set him up, just like that. There we see another attack from Vanilluxe, being paralyzed. So Zekrom now has 120 damage. Usually if he has Switch, using Switch, then retreating the Virizion. So you can retreat only once manually during your turn, but you can use Switch after that, so you can actually retreat twice. Then it'll be 140 damage with Outrage, so that would be really devastating. But thank God I got a Vileplume out, Trainer Lock is in play, I'm safe. And yeah, that'll be the game. You see it's closing to an end, or it's getting to an end here. That Virizion can't do anything. The maximum damage he would deal is 40, because once he used the attack, he'll get on his next turn dealing 80, but he'll be frozen solid, so he can't do anything after that. Usually it's dealing 40 damage, then dealing 80 damage, and then after that dealing 80 damage again. I got a couple of questions saying, how does Virizion's attack work? Well, it's 40 damage, on your next turn 80 damage, and on your next turn 80 damage, and stuff like that. It goes on like that. Can do. But I got questions saying that he deals 40 damage, then 80 damage, then 120 damage, and 160 damage. But that's wrong. It's just 40 damage, 80 damage, and again 80 damage. Can deal more than that. So can knock out my Vanilluxe at last. But he has a rescue energy attached to him, so we get back all the cards to my hand. I mean all the Pokemon cards, like my basic Vanillite, Vanillish, and Vanilluxe back to my hand, so now I can evolve the other ones. So there we go, Vanilluxe and a Vanillice, or a Vanillite, just an ice cream. kind of crazy how they made a Pokemon out of an ice cream. I don't think that's so original, but it's just my opinion. I think the old school Pokemon were just the best of the best. Yeah, the creators were really unique right there, even though there were also Pokemon like this, like we have Diglett, and then it evolves to Dugtrio, so putting 3 together just like Magnemite, putting some together, Magneton. Yeah, that wasn't very original too, but I still liked him though. Just some personal opinion. I don't really have to make commentary here. You see, I only need to pick one prize card and the Kyurem will be stuck. You don't have any energies, so I do have lots of energies, and I attach a double Chorus to my Cupchew, hoping to get another Beartic in play. And yeah, there we go, Beartic. So now I have a Beartic and a Vanilluxe that will waiting to be evolved. I'm still waiting for my next Vanilluxe. Can't seem to get out that Vanilluxe out of my deck, so and there we go. I got 2 tails with my first roll, and then using Victini's ability, Victory Star, rolling the dice again, and he's stuck. And Kyurem is stuck, so we can't do anything. The best thing here would be, I don't know, giving energy to Beartic and then retreating the Vanilluxe, so he's automatically stuck, so he can't attack. But yeah, just testing out some stuff. You can also use the attack, but I've never had that I roll a dice, both tails, and then using Victory Star, and then it's again both tails. I never had that before, so just my experience, I guess. Good fail though. And there I have him, Vanilluxe. I finally pulled him out of my deck. And there we go. I'm knocking it out with Beartic, and that'll be the game. He picked 3 prize cards though, so it's a pretty reasonable deck. And yeah, we'll just switch the tables around here. Fast play, just showing you the start of 6 corners deck. So I'm starting with 6 corners this time, and my opponent can start using Sage Training a bunch of times, stuff like that. Just fast forward this video because I'm already over 15 minutes, and it'll be insanely long if I just keep on like that. Yeah, here you see the normal setup using Eviolite on a Virizion, getting an energy to Virizion, and then drawing 2 cards, setting up your bench Pokemon later on. So now using communication stuff, getting out Vileplume, and a fast commentary right there. Should be a world record here. And rare candy for Vileplume, and after a couple of turns, yeah, you see that I also lose. Even if I play 6 corners is just really bad against a Vileplume deck, as I already mentioned, so that's why it always loses against a Vileplume luck deck. 6 corners, I'll check it out next week. Hopefully I can check it out against Cake. Hopefully I can get my Electrode Prime in my mail tomorrow or something like that next week. Hopefully I can get it, and hope you guys all enjoyed this battle video. I think I'll do a couple of more next week and the week after that, but it could be that a week from now that I won't be able to make a battle video because there are exams. I know that sucks, but yeah, they're coming up pretty fast, and that's why I don't think I have that much time, but I'll try to make a video just for you guys, your true subscribers. And thanks for watching again. Till next time.